Hi everyone, Budget Stark here. Thanks again for tuning in. We are checking out the 1 in 9th scale DIECAST Mark 38. Some people call it Igor, some people call it Igor, depending on where you are in the world. Without a doubt though, everyone's going to agree it's an absolute beast of a figure. I'll show you how it looks compared to the Hot Toys 1 in 6th scale plastic version, just so you can see how it compares in terms of size and also with other figures for 1 in 9th scale and also 1 in 6th scale. But just to show you how big this is, this stands at just under 14 inches. You're looking at around 13.5 inches. He is very heavy, and you'll see how heavy he is later on. In terms of accessories, you have a couple of tools for the batteries, the usual set of batteries you get in all the compartments. You get quite a large number of hands, fisted hands, relaxed and open hands, and the articulated hands, much more than the hands that you get with the Hot Toys version. I think King Arts have definitely improved their paint apps, because one of the recent ones is the Mark 16 Iron Man 3 figure, which is Nightclub. This blue coloration they've put on here is actually quite striking. Very good quality. The weathering is pretty decent, along with the app itself. It doesn't look sloppy, so maybe they've changed their process in terms of how they apply this paint, because it does look pretty good. One of the areas that King Arts have always lacked behind Hot Toys is the fact their paint app is not as crisp, not as clean, not as streamlined. It just, overall, you can see the paint app does not belong to Hot Toys. Now this is very good. I'm actually very impressed how this has turned out. I'm going to show you how much this weighs and a couple of new features which I saw on this, which is a little bit different to the Hot Toys version. So we're going to start off with the DIECAST King Arts 1 in 9th scale Mark 16 Nightclub, and that stands at just under 380 grams. Next, we're going to move on to a plastic figure. This is the Hot Toys Silver Centurion Mark 33. We put that on. We're looking at very similar weights, just under 380 grams. Next, we're going to move on to a die-cast figure. This is the 1 in 6 scale die-cast Hot Toys Mark 42. And that stands in at just under 840 grams. Now we're going to move on to the die-cast Mark 38 from King Arts. This is the 1 in 9th scale. So let's put that on. And it comes in at just under 1,720 grams. Quite a sizable difference between the die-cast Hot Toys and the King Arts 1 in 9th scale Hot Toys. Now the last one is this beast. I can't even show it. This is the 1 in 6th scale Mark 38 from Hot Toys. This is plastic, so I'm going to get this on the scales. There we go. 2,200, just over 2,230 grams. This is still significantly heavier, but it is much bigger, which you shall see in a moment. As with all figures, make sure you read the instructions manual. Can't stress that enough, because it will show you the things you should do, should not do, new features on this figure compared to the Hot Toys version, where to put the batteries, etc. So all figures, you should always go through the instructions manual. There are some features which are slightly different to the Hot Toys, which I will go through in a moment. I'm going to show you a couple of things very quickly. The legs extend downwards, and this little flap can flick out a little bit just to give you a little bit more range of motion, but because it is quite a chunky, bulky armor, there's not that much you can do in terms of a twist. There isn't much. It just sort of swivels this way a little bit, and the range of motion of the arms is decent. It's pretty decent, but because his torso is quite limited in terms of movement, it may look a little bit unnatural. Please bear in mind the weight of the arms can maybe cause the figure to drop down. Just so you can see here, this is a little section that can drop down when the arms go close to the body like that. So that section just here will drop down. These plates at the back, it's probably familiar to anyone with a Hot Toys figure. They can move a little bit. It's not that much in terms of articulation here, just something that moves. But there are a couple of things different to the Hot Toys version. The first thing is the base of the feet. There are light up sections on the feet here and here. They do light up. That's a common thread throughout King Arts figures. Their feet light up. The next section is here. This opens up, which the Hot Toys one can do, but it also extends a little bit more. So it has this extra pivot or sliding aspects that you can pose up if you so wish. That's different and not shown on Hot Toys one. And here's something very different. It's a little mechanism which I have to probably show you at this angle. So if you remember the Hot Toys one, these can lift up by just pulling these upwards like that. But King Arts have put in a little mechanism which, if you look here as well, if you keep pulling this, pushing this button, can you see this lifting? That lifts upwards, and there's a little button here. This one goes up, this one you push, and to make sure I can get this in shot, you keep pushing it a few times, and this bit here, it drops down as well. So this one lifts upwards, this one drops down as well. So another feature that is a little bit different. Some people may say it's not even necessary, but at least they've put in something which is a little bit different to the Hot Toys version. That's all I want to show you in terms of the movement of the body, which I think is a little bit different compared to the Hot Toys one. Let's pose him up next to a couple of other figures. So when you pose him up with the 1 in 9 scale King Arts diecast at the front, next to him you have the Hot Toys 1 in 6 scale Mark 42 Silver Centurion plastic diecast Mark 38 by King Arts. The Mark 38 is the tallest. It's around 13 inches, 13.5 inches, with the 1 in 6 scales a little bit shorter than that, and it's a full 5 inches, I would say, taller than the 1 in 9 scale. So he is a big boy. So let's see how he looks next to the Hot Toys 1 in 6 scale Mark 38s. I actually have two Hot Toys plastic 1 in 6 scale Mark 38s. One's a completely stock standard version. The other is a custom battle damage. So you can see some of the battle damage parts with the ripped out armor, some wires put in, some wires added, which I actually really like putting in my display so I can have both Mark 38s either side of the gantry. So when you look at the King Arts version, he's a big boy, but nowhere near as big as the Hot Toys plastic versions. So that's pretty much how they look in comparison in size. That's all I wanted to show you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and catch you all at the next video.